Oh, sicky now. Hell yeah. I know my dogs are watching, and if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Now, look, I know you guys see this pink glow on my face. I got so much good stuff to tell you about. Got a great guest today. We got the usual suspects. But first, I do owe a very sincere apology to that one special person. So I just want you to know that there's never a moment that you do not leave my heart. I think about you always. I'm healing. I appreciate your patience. And with that said, I want to remind you guys today that it is a great day to be alive. And first, before I choose my regular guest, I want you guys to put your potential hands together for the one and only Miss D-Rex. Bring it in. Yeah.
What are potential hands? Put your potential hands together, everybody. Hello.
You know what we did today. You know
I
who
do. Now,
you got anything you want to say about how excited this episode is going to be?
This is super exciting. There's so many great things to talk about. I wish with my whole heart that I had been there for it. The stars did not align. I'm here in Los Angeles again, but you are in
Flagstaff, Arizona. Flagstaff, Arizona, which is a thrill-seeking paradise, and I'm actually surrounded by thrill seekers. So I'm going to get to that. But before I tell you guys about who's with me today in my room and what we did today, I want to introduce probably the greatest thrill seeker that I've ever met in my life, a man that has inspired me to get busy living. The namesake, the concept, everything about the lifestyle is all thanks to this man. So please, I know you guys are, if you've been a part of the Help Swede Walk Again organization since the jump, you guys know him well. He's the Help Swede Walk Again's big brother, everybody's favorite, the one and only Scootie Wells.
Okay, let me hide this thing so we can see his face.
Oh man. What an introduction. I don't know if I can live up to all that, but hey, I'm here.
Bro, I'll tell you what, man, I could not be happier about you being here. Everybody that has been tuned into this from the jump knows how significant the role that you played in my life. So we're going to save that story for later. But what I want to do is real quickly introduce you as, I know that you are an entrepreneur yourself. You're a husband, you're a father, but I would rather you tell everyone, in your own words, how you would like to help Swede Walking audience to know you and remember you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a complicated first question, that's nothing that I've ever thought about of like how I want to be remembered. That's not really on the radar, but I don't know. As a friend, like that's my biggest thing is, we all have those friends that are there in times of need, and sometimes those needs are greater than other times, but it really doesn't matter. Whenever you need someone, you call on your friends, and if they are able, they show up. Now, I'm not saying that anybody else was not able to show up over in Bali and all that stuff, but it's if you are able. At the time, I was able. I figured it out. I was almost halfway there. Hell, I was in Hawaii. All it was a couple flights across the pond, and there I was standing by your bed in Bali. So
Scott,
yeah.
Many people who watch this might not know exactly where and when you're talking about. Right when Swede got injured, you were one of the first people to respond. And maybe you can talk a little bit about that, how you came to the knowledge and then decided to go.
Actually, before you jump in that, Scootie Wells, I just want to, first of all, we got a lot of things we're going to talk about in today's podcast, and I want to save that for the end because I believe that is really such an endearing story and what's going to really cause the hearts and souls for everyone to just fall into your lap.
You're right. And I am just so excited to hear him tell this story that, we should save it because it's a big story.
You know, it's a good story is how me and Scootie Wells met. Our mutual friend Darren was like, bro, I got somebody that I met recently. He's pretty cool, and he's gonna hang out with us today. You know, and I think you said you met him before, but did you not like him? But he's gonna hang out with us because I like him, so he's hanging out with us whether you like it or not. And we go down to the harbor down in Destin, and Scott walks up, and Darren's like, hey man, this is the guy I was telling you about. Scott, this is my buddy Swede. And Scott's like, hey Swede. I'm like, hey Scott, nice to meet you. He's like, yeah, Swede said he doesn't like you, but I think you're cool. So you remember that, Swells? How Darren came up with that?
Yeah. Is that how the complete story went? Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Then we walk out back at Harry T's out to where the harbor is, where there's this mad traffic. Like it was right close to the middle of the summer, and boats going by like rush hour traffic. And me and Scott sat there talking for like maybe, I don't know, a minute, maybe 3. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to go grab us some beers. And he goes to walk inside the harbor. He like takes a couple steps up and he turns around. He's got the whole harbor, like rush hour traffic of boats going in all directions. And Scott, in a place that this is welcome. It's like a Mardi Gras type of environment. And not necessarily like he was asking for anybody to throw him no beads, but he's like, hey, he like gets everybody's attention. You see all these people from boats like looking as they're passing by. And Scott's like, should I tell him, Swells? Sure, you're
already there.
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God. And then he turns around and walks in the bar. And I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. This guy's going to be my boy forever. and speaking of you saying that, you know, when people can, they do. That's not true, man. But within a couple of days, Scott was at my house with his pickup truck helping me move. So we're going to tell that story a little bit later too, about what happened there. But, you know, the white knuckle story is another one that I think is relevant, but I'll get to that later. But as we go through this, guys, I want to encourage to pay attention to what we're talking about here, and also get in the chats with us, because that's what this is all about, really. I wanted to bring Scott to you so that you would have an opportunity as the audience here to chat with him a little bit.
You know, that's what I was going to say next, is that I see some people here and I want you to say hi in the comments, because we can see that you're here, but we don't know who you are until you say hi. And we really want to see who you are. So say hello in the comments. And I also wanted to tell everybody that you can definitely head over to gitbizzylivin.com and get on our email list, because there's going to be so many exciting things happening and you're going to want to know about it and be part of it.
Hell yeah! What up, Jay Brown? That's my dog.
Here.
One of the original gangsters for me. Jay Brown was one of my first friends, and believe me, y'all, if Jay Brown would have had the opportunity or the chance like Scootie Wells did, I know that's my man. 100 grand. I know Jay Brown, you would have been right there, man. I got much love for you. I appreciate you like that. So, you know, Diana was inviting you guys to join the email list, and I want to just say this: what are we doing here? I'm never going.
There you are.
I'm never going to de-emphasize this, okay? This entire production, me doing this, is because I want to give back to everyone that was there for me when I needed you. So this viewership here is just it's a method to try to generate the revenues necessary to be able to help people the way that you've been helped, and for me to be able to help you come on these adventures with us, and for me to throw the huge party that I promise you guys. So what we're doing here as this podcast is we're trying to increase the viewership so that the revenues that are generated from the viewership can be turned right back to you guys, okay? So I want you as an audience to feel valuable, and I want you to want to be a part of this. And we are also going to have sponsors along the way that we also want you to feel valuable, because at a certain point, we want this to become a community where the guests, the audience, and the sponsors are all the same people, all in this together, all helping each other. And today, today was such an amazing day. We were at the Grand Canyon with highcountryadaptive.org. And man, you know, when I got injured, there were many times when I was in the ICU that I really didn't think it was going to be worth it. And, you know, I had so many opportunities where, you know, it just got so thick and dark and deep that, you know, I didn't know why I was deciding to continue on. And, you know, I kept having, you know, first of all, having Jerry and Scott and Carolina in the ICU with me and telling me about all the love and support that was coming from all over the world. was the driving force. And I just kept telling myself that if you guys believed in me, that I knew that I had the strength to do it. And I imagined days like today where I was going to have more peak life experiences. And man, wait till you guys see the footage of this, and wait till you get to know the people that I was with today. I'm telling you, it was an amazing adventure, and it really is. I really am doing this all for you. So each week you can expect us to do a quick update about what we've been up to, talk about where we've been, and then we're going to get to the guest. So, what do you think, Diana? Do you think that we should go into some updates as far as the HSWA?
Well, I think that a lot of people might not realize, because they just tuned in, is that you're actually in Flagstaff, Arizona today.
Yes.
You had a huge adventure. So much has happened since last week. We have a lot to talk about. We have some footage to show you guys. There's so much that you have been getting busy living about. What am I saying? There's just been so much that you've been up to. There's too much to talk about. So I think that first what we want to do is we want some updates from you, but I can't manage this computer today. This is what I want. That's what I want. Okay, so where are you here? There you go.
Okay, so really, where I'm at, the most important thing about what's going on with me right now is that I am, obviously, you guys know that I'm a student at the University of Arizona. A couple of years ago, I was bedridden. I hadn't gotten any kind of clue from anyone that I was ever going to get out of bed. And I knew that if I was going to spend the rest of my life in bed, that I was going to be upset that nobody was willing to help me. And at a certain point, I realized that if I wasn't willing to help myself, how could I feel any sort of way about other people not willing to help me? So I decided that I would dedicate myself to fixing myself. And I decided to go back to school to try to learn how to fix myself. And I knew at that point, where I felt that learning nutrition is to fixing myself what learning numbers is to physics. So I started with nutrition. And so I knew that at some point there was going to be a convergence where my school and my life would converge and I would become my homework. And that's where I'm at now. So this semester, I have 3 different classes. All of them have assignments that are relevant to what my life is and how I'm bringing all these things together to ultimately try to get back on my feet and give you guys your money's worth. So the update is that 3 of my classes are all putting their my professors are all putting their hands in a pile, and we've got a great program that I'm going to execute starting next week. I decided that this week I'm going to just keep it focused on the Grand Canyon and on Scootie Wells. But next week, you guys got to tune in because I'm going to explain to you how I'm converging my life and my school and my audience all into one thing. So I can't wait to get that to you guys.
All right. So you know what I want to mention right here is that we're going to be here. Let's get out of this view here. I want to, you know what, this is live, everybody. Obviously, this is absolutely live. And you wouldn't believe Swede came not flying, but, driving in from the Grand Canyon and just kind of like dove into this hotel room. And he's here on this podcast. And we're just flying here. So you're going to see a lot of fun moments. But I would like to remind everybody that we're going to be doing some polls about where we should travel to, where you've always wanted to travel to, all sorts of topics. And we want you to be able to be a part of this. So we're going to be having some polls on Instagram until we figure out how to get them on our website. And I think that we're going to be starting this as soon as tomorrow. So make sure to go follow our Instagram handle, which is gitbizzylivin, and you're going to see that mug doing something crazy, and you'll know it's the right place.
Yeah, so another thing that's going to happen next week, guys, so what we want to get into the habit of doing is at the end of every month, the last episode of each month, we're going to talk about future destinations. So next week, tune in and you'll find out where we're going to be going in October, okay? Every month we have a new destination. This month is destination 1. It was the Grand Canyon. And from this point on, we're going to go 54 more months so that at the month of number 55, I will have at that month broken my streak that I was on when I got injured, and hopefully built up enough viewership to where we're going to be able to throw you guys a huge party at that point. So tune in next week and get used to tuning in on the last week of every month, and then we'll let you know what's happening with our future destinations. And then hopefully, with all goes well in the viewership, we start pulling raffles, and you guys can meet me there.
And Swede, what happens on that last month? Is there anything else that's kind of, I don't know? No? Okay. All right. I mean, you don't need to let the cat out of the bag, but a huge party is a cat out of a bag. Yeah. There might be a little bit more. I don't know.
For those of you that don't know, when I was on my deathbed in Bali, and literally they were not going to let me leave unless my hospital bill was paid. And although I had money to travel with and I was getting paid regularly, I didn't have a big sum and I was broke quick. And so they weren't going to let me leave. I was going to die there. And thanks to Micah calling up people like Swells and Elmo and those guys putting their collective efforts in and doing this massive social media campaign, I woke up about a month later and I was going back through the Help Swede Walk In Facebook page, and I stumbled on this video and I looked down and it says 20,000 views. And it was a Facebook Live video from the ICU. And Scott's like, Swede, you got anything you want to say to the audience? And, I don't remember saying this, but in a nutshell, I basically said, that I really screwed myself this time. And if you guys help me out of this jam, that I would throw you a huge, huge party. So that is what this is about. My goal, first and foremost, is to throw you guys that party that I promised you. So you have my word that if this podcast crashes and burns, I'm going to be on fire in the wreckage, still trying to throw you that party.
I was there. I heard it.
Yeah, there's actually there's video of that somewhere, and we're going to be playing that at some point. Not today when we find it. Today was just too crazy. It has been too crazy lately. It was crazy today, last week. Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to let you guys know that me, another one of my top dogs, and another one of my top dolls, and who are becoming a top dog and doll of mine, all went up to the Grand Canyon. So I'm going to take this opportunity to invite them guys to get into the picture with me. You guys want to come in here and see yourselves on screen? So first I'm going to introduce the ladies. This is Carly and Carolina. You want to come up here?
Oh, the ladies.
I'm going to wear my hat because my hair is flat.
So look, you can see Carly also has a nice little sunburn going on.
Oh,
and today was Carolina's first time at the Grand Canyon. And so these are the newest additions to my doll. And now I want to bring on Truman. Come on over here, bro. So just get in where you fit in. And so I'm going to give Truman and Carly an opportunity in a second to tell you guys about themselves. But JFT, come on and get your mug up in here, bro. Look at this. How amazing is this, guys? I want you guys that are out there watching, that are watching this podcast, I want you to know this is what the Get Busy Living project is about. It's about throwing that huge party that I owe you, and it's about me coming out to you. Okay, so watch, share, and the more this viewership goes up, the more the revenues come. And then what we're going to be able to do is that when we're telling you where our new destination is, we want to get to a point where we're generating enough revenues where we can pull names out of the hat and we can say, look, so-and-so won this week, and that means we're going to pay for you to come and do the stuff like what we've done today. So today, what we did is we woke up at around 8 o'clock this morning and met my man Truman here over at the bike shop, and Truman loaded up a special bike that I can get into, plus bikes for the rest of the crew, and we all drove up to the Grand Canyon. And with Truman and Carly, them and another rep, Doug, which I wish Doug was here because Doug was the man today. The footage that Doug got today is epic. So Doug was like our path leader, He was our scout going down the path. But Truman and Carly, why don't you guys take a moment to tell the Get Busy Living audience, what you guys got going on and what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. So we work for High Country Adaptive Sports here in Flagstaff. I run our summer programming. So we provide adaptive recreation for folks with disabilities. So we provide adaptive mountain biking, kayaking, rock climbing, hiking, and we just take people with disabilities out and make it accessible for them to recreate. And then Carly runs our winter program, and she can talk about that.
And sailing.
And we're going to have a sale soon, a Tetra sale. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Carly. I'm the winter program manager for High Country Adaptive. I run the ski program, so we have all kinds of different equipment, really skilled instructors. And we are able to get anyone with any kind of disability out on snow. So we've been doing that now for about 10 years.
Wow.
10 years,
10,
yeah.
11 for the ski program.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I'm hoping to maybe expand into cross-country skiing this year. Maybe. Stay tuned.
I'm telling you guys. So one other thing that I want to do with this podcast, because there's so much that we can do when we have a powerful audience like we do. I mean, the fact that you guys saved my life is there's no deed that can ever repay you for that. But I want to really emphasize that, before that happened, I did not have any disabled friends, and I don't know anybody that is more friendly than me, to be honest with you. Like, I love everybody, and I try to befriend everybody as soon as I meet them. And so to look back on life and know that as many contacts I have on my list, not very many disabled friends, if any. And so I want to bring awareness to that, because I know that I'm a good dude. I know that I'm a friendly person. I know that I don't look past people, and I care, and I help. But it just goes to show that it's not the fault of the able-bodied community that we as the disabled community feel so invisible, because we have taken the time to teach them what it's like to be in our shoes. So I hope that this podcast, among other things, can raise awareness for the disabled community, because I got to be honest, I was not aware of the disabled community before I became a part of it. And I was not aware that there are people like these wonderful souls sitting next to me that are dedicating their lives to making sure that people like myself and the rest of the disabled community can still go out there and have a good time like what we did today. Man, I cannot wait to show you some of the footage of what we did today. So
do you want me to bring that up on the screen?
Do you have something that you can run by them?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what it is. Like, we are doing this so quickly that I'm going to be surprised what. Yeah, I hope you don't have any pictures in there that shouldn't be seen.
Be careful what's on the video. The pictures you're golden with the pictures. The video, I can't make any promises.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to see what comes up. This is a big surprise for me too.
If something bad comes up, just blame it on JFT.
Let's see how this looks.
There we go.
Can everybody see what's going on? Okay, so I think you can just go ahead and talk about things as I kind of scroll by. I'm going to actually come across some videos here. Should I play this?
Video. This is our entry into the path right here.
Okay. Hey, this looks
next.
So cool.
Hell yeah. The adventure begins.
So obviously none of these videos are edited, but that's just
and some of them are still processing. Oh, should I show this one?
Oh, that one, yes.
Okay.
Be really careful and lean to your left.
How amazing.
Look at the Grand Canyon, y'all.
My goodness.
Oh my God. I spent almost a year in bed where I did not get out of bed once other than to get in a stretcher in order to go into an ambulance, to go to another place, to get into another bed. I did not think that something like this was ever possible. So for those of you out there that are part of the disabled community, please stay tuned to the Get Busy Living Project. Go to the hswa.org and send us nominations at hswa.org if you want to nominate someone to be helped the way that I've been helped. Now, it's a brand new nonprofit. It's less than 2 months old. So we're just getting all of the balls rolling and getting all the processes in place. But I want you guys to know that there is going to be an opportunity in the near future where we're going to start asking for volunteers. I've got roles lined up. I'm working with professional consultants on how to get this nonprofit off the ground. And it's going to be, reliant heavily in the very beginning on my energy and then the efforts of those that may want to volunteer to help us out. So by all means, please be prepared for that. I know I've had so many people over the past few years tell me that they wish that they could help, or they wish that there was something they could do. And it's not about money, guys. If enough of us come together, the money will come from the viewership. So yes, of course we want you to donate. Yes, of course we want you to like and share. But tuning in is the number one thing. And if you're willing to tune in, that's half of the battle right there. But the second thing, like I was saying, is that if you guys want to volunteer, very soon we are going to stay tuned to the podcast, because we don't have all of these troughs built yet. But in the very near future, we are going to have a way for you to reach out to us and let me know in what ways you want to volunteer. Because the Get Busy Living Project, we got 54 months to go after this. That's a lot of event planning. That's a lot of networking. That's a lot of logistical things that we're going to need help with. We need social media help. And guys, if I'm going to get Carly and and Truman, in Switzerland with that bike. It's some help. So by all means, please, I'm really trying to hammer home that I'm building a community here. When you have friends like Scootie Wells and JFT that are willing to put their lives on hold, and Maria to put their lives on hold for you, and you wake up come on the other side. There's really nothing more, consuming than really wanting to give back. So I'm wanting to create a community here where you guys feel like your involvement is important and it's valued, and there's something in it for you, because the more success we have with this, the more of you are going to be able to come and do amazing things like go on these type of epic adventures. So before we move on and start talking, hey, Steve, thank you for tuning in, brother. By the way, I appreciate that. That's the truth. My man's been with me on every single time I've been live trying to figure all this out. So shout out to Steve for that. But what I was going to say is that, wait, what was I going to say?
Well, do you want me to show more of this epic adventure here?
Yeah. Let's look at this. Okay. So
it's such a good photo.
That's incredible.
Wow. I had some good camera people with me today.
There's some
better
ones.
So if you so Truman's going to take a moment and talk about this bike here.
Oh, okay.
This is the Lasher off-road hand cycle. These are made out of Las Vegas by a wheelchair company. This bike is meant for mountain biking. So this has full suspension. It has a 1,000-watt e-assist motor, and this thing can go. This thing has a lot of pickup, and it is really fun to take off the trails, and it was equally fun to be on the trail we were on today. So that's a shout out to Lasher in Vegas.
Yeah, so it's not gonna, I was talking to him about, what can we do really to help you the most? And really it's about getting people that need their help, connecting them with the right audience. And speaking of which, I know that there's going to be plenty of opportunities for us to use that bike, but I got to tell you, I'm really excited about our February destination. So Carly, you want to tell us about the skis that you're working with?
Yeah, different skis up at the mountain. But one of the ones that Swede will probably be on is called the Tetra ski, and that is controlled by either sip and puff technology. So you can sip to go one way, puff out on a little straw to go left, or puff one way, sip the other. And then you can also use a joystick. The skis edge, wedge, turn, completely independent. Yeah, it's a really, really cool piece of equipment. Honestly, it looks like it's straight out of Star Trek, if you ask me.
Wow.
Yeah, so then Swede will be able to make his own independent turns. If you can drive a power chair, you can drive sit ski.
Yes. So Diana, do you remember going skiing? Remember we went skiing like in the 9th grade together?
We used to be in the ski club, which is so weird because we were like the poorest kids. Somehow our school sponsored this club that allowed us to go skiing. So we would catch this bus to Peak and Peak in New York. And it was like Fridays in the wintertime, I think.
Yeah.
And it was after school, and we would all hop on the bus and have this awesome bus ride to Peak and Peak, and got to have all the things that anybody else with money has. And it was incredible because that's why I think that I love being a part of this podcast, because I know you're trying to bring things to people. And there was so much brought to us when we were young that really influenced my life. And now I love skiing, and I will not miss that trip. I will not miss it.
Speaking of that, so what that trip is going to be now, I was telling them earlier when we were having lunch that for a solid decade or two of my life, I swore that you could not have more fun with your clothes on than you can have skiing. And so it wasn't until I went skydiving that I put skiing down number 2, but it's a close 2. I mean, they're both unique and they're both equally exciting. But what we're going to do, believe me, skydiving is on the Get Busy Living project list. But skiing is already on the list. So unofficially, we're still working out the logistics. But what we want to do is be right back here in Flagstaff in February for the Super Bowl. The Steelers are going to be playing that month. So we want to go skiing on the Saturday before the Super Bowl, and then go up and then have a Super Bowl party here in Flagstaff. So start getting your ski gear ready for those of you that are part of the audience that are into skiing and that are interested, because not only am I going to be out there in the Tetra, and between now and then, we hope to have made a lot of contact through the Help Swede Walk Again organization with the others that might need this type of help. So it's not just me out there receiving all the love that these guys have to give, but there's others out there as well.
Awesome. Well,
Kelly,
hey.
Kelly Truman.
Oh yeah.
Kelly came up a few weeks ago and helped me and Truman get me into the chair. Kel, I wish you were here, girl. I really, I'm hard. Kel just started a new career. She just made a new career move, and so she wasn't able to get off of work to come up. And man, I know that hurt her heart to not be here. So thanks, Kel, for the shout out. You know you're gonna be going skiing with us for sure.
Would you like me to move forward with your pictures and videos? I don't know what's next.
Yeah, keep on going. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were waiting.
Well, some of these are still processing, so we can't view them today, but we'll make sure that we put them up next week. That is amazing. What a gorgeous day.
So yeah, why don't you talk about that? So Truman was telling us how many times he's been up there.
Great picture.
Yeah, I grew up out here in Flagstaff. Probably been to the Grand Canyon 50 times, and the view never gets old. Not once. It's always just amazing.
What happened to Scootie Wells?
Oh, he had to take a break and he'll be right back.
Okay.
We were talking about that, Swede and I, the last time we were in Sedona. We were sitting there looking at these incredible rock formations and just going, can you get tired of this? And we were just like, no, you can't get tired of this. So you want me?
Yeah, go ahead and play that. Let's take a look at that.
And
these guys were so great.
Here we go.
Not only did we have, cheers, Swells. Not only was it the greatest location, but these guys were so helpful, posting up and like getting some good footage and quite frankly, risking a little bit. Man, it was so much more fun than it looks. I never thought I'd see the day, man. I never thought
that looks so fun. Amazing.
Man. Yeah, seeing that, it brings back a lot of memories of where it was questionable whether you would see that again. And it's pretty monumentous because it's been years in the making for you to be back. I mean, a lot of people don't realize, but you spent a lot of, and you've said it, but you spent a lot of time in a room in a lot of, darkness and just, I mean, no better way to put it, in hell. And you're just coming out now, with getting the wheels, your van, and being able to, get started on this Get Busy Living and the HSWA nonprofit, and this is all happening. It's man, it brings tears to the eyes to see this, that you're at the Grand Canyon there, man. I love seeing it. Wish I could join you.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about this Grand Canyon trip, and then we're going to give you an opportunity to let people know why there is the Get Busy Living project. I'm going to go into a little bit of that. But yeah, hey, Kika, so the website is the hswa.org. That's THEHSA.org.
I am going to pull that up
go
here.
Up there and reserve a copy of the Life and Air of Swedism's book, and that'll get you on the guest list. And it's $25 minimum to reserve a copy. Or if you don't want to put in for the book just yet, you can also hit the join the party link, and you can go to the HSWA, and you can donate as little as $1 there, and you can even set up recurring donations. So thank you for asking about that, Kika. That's dope for you to ask about that. So what I was going to talk about real quick is, the Get Busy Living project. I hope that by the time today is over, Scootie Wells can give you a little glimpse into his mind and how he ticks and how he's able to influence me about getting busy living, and how right around that stage is when we met Jerry, and Jerry got busy living with us. But
there he is.
I hope that a lot of people from this project are able to tell stories about how they got on board and were able to have unique experiences. Like Carol, would you mind talking about today as being your first ever adventure to the Grand Canyon?
Well, I've been traveling a lot, but this was my first time here in the Great Canyon. I never have seen anything like that. Like, I was so excited. I was in tears. I was like, it's unbelievable. Like, the pictures and the videos that I see in the TV or videos, whatever, it doesn't make any justice. Like, it's unbelievable.
And we rode through Sedona also yesterday on the way up. And, Jerry, was talking about how he felt like he might have been there before. But, man, I mean, how did it feel? Did it feel like the first time all over again,
That never gets old. Those colors, all the layers, you can basically see the history of the earth in this area, whether it's going up or whether it's going down into the Grand Canyon. It's just incredible. Massively beautiful colors, and it's just so huge, you can't put it into words.
Yeah, and I cannot put into words how grateful I am, not only to be in this room with the four of you and to see what you guys have poured into me today, but to know that, Jerry, you can tell stories about the woman that you helped in Alaska, like completely, refunded her life. And Maria, I know that you've done a lot of help in Colombia, and you guys are here helping me. I mean, this is what I'm trying to harness and what I'm trying to collect, and then pour it back to the people that really need it. Because us as an audience, we are thousands of people, and among us thousands, we know dozens, if not hundreds of people that can use the help, that don't have the guts to ask, and that don't realize that people are willing to help, and people are out there dedicating their lives to helping. I mean, Carly and Truman, literally that's their life, is to help people, get out and you said recreate?
Recreate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by all means, please, guys, not only do I want you to stick around for the chat so we can get a little bit Scootie Wells and answering questions about, what his experience is like, but I want you to please get on our list at gitbizzylivin.com so you can stay in the know, and just tune in. Tell your friends to tune in. Let's get this viewership up so we can start getting some of you guys out on these epic adventures with us. So with that said, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I know you guys have heard stories before, but so I was on my way home. This is the Get Busy Living. This is how I got inspired by Scootie Wells. So Scootie Wells called me up one day, and he's like, yo, dog, where you at? It's like a Thursday night, and I usually come home from work on Thursdays. At that point in my life, I was going out of town and working for a few nights and then coming back. And I was like, yeah, I'll be back in a couple hours. And he's like, all right, man, meet me on the back patio. And that's like code word for, bring some goodies and let's change our minds. And so when I showed up there, he comes outside and he like sits down, and he's like, got this like really like pent up anxiety like vibe about him. And he's like, man, and he's like, give me that. He couldn't wait to like relax. And I'm like, what's the matter with you, man? And he starts complaining. He's like, man, I can't do this job no more, man. He's like, I gotta go, man. I'm supposed to go to New Zealand. I'm supposed to do this in my life. I got so many things to do, and I can't be doing this job. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, what are you complaining about, man? You're a bachelor, and chicks love you, and you got a job where you only work 6 months out of the year, and you come home, you got a couple $100,000 condo by the beach, you got a $70,000 truck, you got a $50,000 jet ski, you got a business that you started doing kayak fishing around here. Like, bro, you got it made. What are you possibly complaining about? And he's like, man, you don't understand. And I'll never forget these words. He said, you don't understand. Every morning I go to work, and he's like, I love my coworkers, and I got mad respect, but I sit in that driveway like 5 minutes before I go in, and I'm squeezing a steering wheel, knowing that I have to go in here and I have to listen to other people tell me what to do, and just like describing like, Swells, do you remember that? Do you remember that conversation? Do you remember how you felt when you were describing that to me?
Yeah. I've told that story many times over. But yeah, it was just something had to change. And going into work, and if I'm 5 minutes early and I'm sitting in the drive in the parking lot, squeezing the steering wheel and watching the clock tick by until it's time to go in, and then finally go inside to work, it's something had to change.
Yeah, so it's this one right here. And so I was like, whatever, dude, you got it made, you're full of it. He's like, no, man, I'm done. I'm done with this. So a couple weeks later, not too long later, calls me up with a similar story. He's like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm on my way. Comes out on his back patio and slaps down on the desk. Bam, pink slip. I'm telling you, it was like a blink of the eye. Condo sold, truck sold, jet ski sold, business sold, job, bye. And next thing I know, I'm taking this dude to the airport on his way to New Zealand. I'm telling you, he went from being heavily involved with all of these obligations and this payment and that payment, and so thick in the rat race that is, you know, the American dream. And next thing I know, the dude's liquidated his life and he's bouncing. So, you know, what type of balls does it take to do that? That was the inspiration for me. You know what I mean? So why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
You know what? Before he tells us about him, I want to show people.
You know, maybe give us an idea of why you think what. Go ahead.
You know, before he says anything, I want to show people this video that I found in your archives.
Go for it. Are you serious?
Okay.
Ready? Oh, man.
Go, go.
Yes.
That's it, man.
Yeah, you remember that, Swede?
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was in Chiang Mai, Thailand. When Swede surprised me for my 30th birthday.
Yeah. Oh,
and yeah. And we went swinging between the trees. That was a fun one. That was the only tree that they hooked us from the back, and you had to Superman jump, and you free fall for 10, 15 feet before it took, and then you Supermaned across the jungle canopy. That was pretty fun, man. Not gonna lie.
And that net at the other end is like a big jungle net. You just land on like a
yeah, like a fly swatter.
So I just want to show that because I want to show like what kind of guy you are. You're a guy who jumps in, right?
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I try to be as much as I can. Yeah, from what Swede was talking about in 2013, for those of you that don't know me personally and know my background, I was a Marine for 5 years as an aircraft mechanic, and then I got out and I contracted for another 5 years with the Air Force as an aircraft mechanic. And being with the military and with aircraft mechanics in general, it wore on you, and it wore on me. And you know, I just like Swede was saying, I was in the parking lot waiting, doing breathing exercises before work, and going in and going, man, something's got to change. But life was too good. The job was too easy. It was too good of money, too good of benefits to just sit there and go, you know what? I'm just going to quit and go do something else. You know, I had to have a good plan, a good exit strategy. And so I remember a conversation with a friend who told me about a working holiday visa. And I was 29 years old at the time, and they're good for till you're 31 years old. And you can go and live and work in Australia for a year. You can go live and work in New Zealand for a year. You can go live and work in Singapore. And if you just recently graduated college, you can go live and work in Ireland for a year. There might be some other ones that slip my radar, but that really sang with me because I'm from Alaska, and you see the yellow leaves, and I don't know if you see that I'm shaking a little bit. It's not from nerves. It's because it's 46 degrees here. We've had rain all week, and the clouds lifted today, and the mountains behind me that you would see if it's not cloudy, they're snow down to about 3,000 feet, maybe a little less. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's balmy to say the least. I'm outside. You know, it was loud inside. I'm in Palmer, Alaska, my hometown, and here for my dad's 70th birthday. So I know he's watching. So happy birthday again, Dad.
Happy birthday, Pop.
Yeah.
Wells in the house.
So as far as that decision, you know, it was kind of like I needed to make a good plan up to justify leaving a good job that paid well. I was a manager at an early age for a high position at a really good company. So my career path was set, and I was on it, but it wasn't making me happy. And I was not excited to go to work every day, and I knew something's got to change. So I wanted to do that myself and create a good plan, and based off of what the information I found out about, well, you can go live in Australia and New Zealand for a year each and work and live and travel as long as you're under 31, and I was 29. So, hey, let's make a plan around that.
Yeah, the clock was ticking.
So, Scott, why don't you talk about when we first met and we were leaving Niceville, driving across the Niceville Bridge. I think we had like 3 or 4 conversations in a row, and you look at me and you're like, dude.
Yeah. So when I met Swede, he was moving houses, and I had a truck, and everybody with a truck becomes friends with people that want to move, right? Well, it wasn't that way. I actually volunteered because I found out he was moving. He never asked, and I said, "Well, dude, I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. What you got? You know, I'll go move a couch with you, whatever." And we moved this bench. He didn't tell me about this bench, but it's notorious for the people that know about this bench. It's heavy, and it's heavy. And last thing, it's heavy and big. So we moved this thing, and so we're driving back, and he's talking to me, and I've never met Swede before. Well, maybe the day before, but never really knew him. And he's talking. I look over and I said, "Man, you got rapper's Tourette's." And he looked at me and he started laughing. I remember that thing.
Yeah,
and that's
like
one of the best ways I could describe Swede was that he's got a serious case of rapper's Tourette's.
So it's funny because that is, in that circumstance, I was just, you were talking and a couple different things in a row I had some sort of rapper's lyrics that I recited that were relevant, to what you're talking about, but the rapper's Tourette's, I am not a rapper. Those of you that know me, you may think I have some sort of rhyming skill because I've written rhymes on Facebook, but let me just tell you, shout out to Jane Solomon. She's the one that got me into that rhyming stuff because I used to, she and I went, I was working with her on a wine bar in Seagrove Beach, Florida. And we were doing a special event. And, I started in just to help her get her staff trained, and do some of that kind of work for her. But then I ended up taking over the place for them and being their general manager. They were such amazing people to work for. To this day, my favorite people I've ever worked for, Phil and Jane. Anyway, so we did this, went out of our way to throw this big event, and she comes over. The place is packed, and she leans in. She's like, "Swede," she's like, I see that you have a Facebook, but it looks like you've never used it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I prefer to socialize in person." And she's like, "Okay, Mr. Socialize in Person guy, that's cool." But she looks around. She's like, she leans in. She's like, "Every person that I know that's in this room is on Facebook and they're promoting their businesses." And she's like, "So I recommend you get on Facebook," which, as nice as she was about it, that's Jane's way of saying, "You better get your ass on Facebook and start promoting my business." And so like, I started doing the typical stuff, like, half off wine or like food deals or whatever. That stuff didn't work. But then I started getting a little bit provocative, and that's when it really started happening. Like, I remember I wrote my status is hiring for all positions and offering benefits if you're flexible. And like that sexual innuendo. Next thing I know, like, I'm getting all these detraction on that post is way better. And like, people are calling me like, "Is Labaton hiring?" And then I did it one time where I wrote some sort of rhyme and it got so much traction. And then I wrote another one that rhymed. And then next thing you know, it's like, it became very clear that people love to read things that rhyme. I didn't ever know I had that kind of skills before. And here we are, 12, 15 years later. And I really believe that those rhymes are the reason that I have people that like to read what I write on Facebook. And if it weren't for that cult following on Facebook, I don't believe that I would have made it through that Bali experience. So it's funny how that little recommendation that I need to start using Facebook more turned into, something that not only saved my life, but guys, I have the Life in a Year of Swedisms book is available. So the way this is working, this is a deal that we came up with a couple of years back, that me and the Help Swede Walking organization. So because I wanted to be able to give you guys something in exchange for the funds that you're sending my way to support me. And so it was Sin's idea to come up with a collection of my past posts. So that's what you have here. The Life in a Year of Swedisms book is a collection of the posts that I believe are the reason that I'm still alive today. And the way it works is, in order for us to afford shipping, we need 2,000 copies reserved. So you go to the hswa.org and reserve your copy of the Life in a Year of Swedisms. And that's going to generate enough funds for us to ship and print 2,000 books. It's going to have enough for us to pay for a stem cell treatment or some sort of help for the Help Swede Walking organization. And most importantly, what we're going to do is, out of those first 2,000 reservations, we're going to pull a name out of the hat, and that person plus one is going to get an all expense paid vacation, that's airfare included, to Alaska for a 6-night, 7-day adventure in Alaska with the wolf himself, Scootie Wells. So Scott, why don't you tell them what that trip could be, depending on what they know and what they like and what you know about Alaska?
Well, I think JFT can say it best, because I introduced him to Alaska, and now he won't quit being here. He actually invested and is here for good now. I thought he was just going to be here for a couple of months. Come to find out, he made my home his home. I'm a little bit jealous, but whatever. So from easy going, beautiful scenery, mountains and animals, to absolutely adventurous, going on hikes that are in the middle of nowhere. It's up to the person that wins the raffle. I'll make it completely customized, and we'll talk in depth. My knowledge of Alaska, I worked tourism here quite a few years, and I've studied it as a passion. I own Adventurous Alaska as an LLC, and .com, Instagram, Facebook, and all that, which will be popping off spring 2024. It's not ready yet, but that doesn't deter from the winter. I've lived here. I was born and raised here where I'm standing in my hometown. 18 years of my life before I joined the Marine Corps, and this is home to me. It's what makes my heart beat, really. Other than my wife and kid, this is what makes my heart beat.
JFT, what was your favorite thing in Alaska?
My favorite thing is
that's hard.
It is hard. There's so much amazing stuff. But I ended up buying a Suburban and a trailer and 2 4-wheelers, and we do this 26 mile trek. Come on in, buddy. Out to Jim Creek on the 4-wheelers. It's 25 miles each way. So it's
to Knik Glacier.
Yeah, and you go all the way out to Knik Glacier. There's a huge glacier lake right there with icebergs floating in it. It's an epic trip on the 4-wheeler. And last year I had 6 or 7 guys come out and go fishing, and I made them all rent wheelers, and we spent the night out there at the glacier lake. Absolutely epic. That's probably my favorite.
What about you, Carol? You've been up there several times.
Yeah. Well, I have too many things that I love, like chase the Northern Lights when we were there in the wintertime. That was amazing. It never gets old. But my last adventure that I love, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to leave Kodiak, which is an island, like there's bears everywhere. And you see them and you're so close to them. And they're just there in the river fishing, the mama bear with the 3 cubs. And you get super close to them and they don't care.
I can't believe you didn't say the dog sledding.
I was going there. I love the dog sledding. There's too many things that I love. I'm just starting my list. But anyways, yeah, the dog, the bear chasing bears. And last year in the winter, like in December, we went to slave dogs. Oh my God, that was like a fairy tale.
Fairy tale.
Oh my goodness. I don't have words to describe how happy, how excited I was. Like I feel in a movie. Like I feel like I was in the movie. It was amazing. I wish I had videos to share. I wish.
I've seen the videos that are on your phone. Obviously, you can't put them here, but I've seen those videos, and they are fairy tale. Like she's literally riding in a sled behind a bunch of huskies, like straight out of a Santa Claus show.
And honestly, all that came out of Scotty's recommendation. He stayed with me for a few months and finished getting his college degree, and they were leaving and going to Alaska right after that. And I'm like, well, if you're going to Alaska now, I got to go to Alaska now. I mean, you're the expert. Why would I?
I need to go to Alaska.
So I went with him, and he wrote a whole white paper. This is everywhere you got to go. This is the best order to do it in. And we took off on 9 weeks, 7,200-mile trip camping out of the back of that Suburban. Epic.
That's amazing. So look, guys, while I've got JFT and Maria and Swells all in one place at one time, please, if you have anything you want to ask them or you have anything you're curious about, hit us in the chat box and we'll try to get some questions answered here, before we sign off. But I do want to make sure that while you guys are taking a moment to write your questions here, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that the Life and the Year of Sweet Business book is available in 2,000 copies to ship. And then that's how you're going to get on the vacation to come to Alaska. But it's not just about that book. It's not just about winning that trip to Alaska. The more the viewership goes up, we're going to do this podcast once a week. And the more the viewership goes up, the more revenues we generate. Then soon enough, we're going to start pulling each month. At the end of the month, we're going to let you know where we are financially, where the help of the Swede Walking In is financially, so that we can tell you who we're going to help. We can tell you whether or not or how much we can afford to get you guys on a Get Busy Living adventure with us. And so please do understand that the revenues that you're generating, you're going to know where that money is going. And it all starts with you watching and hopefully telling somebody else to watch. Because like I already said last week, if you like something, we all know, we all know that if we find a song that we love, we can't wait to tell somebody that we found a song that we love. And if it's a song that nobody else knows, we're especially proud of it. So I would love it if each and every one of you guys would feel that way about what we're doing here. We're just getting started. We're not professional podcasters yet, but what we are trying to build here is a community through this podcast of people getting busy living, getting out of their comfort zone, figuring out a way. So I know that we're running out of time here. We want to try to keep this under 3 minutes or 1 hour, but I think that time here.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I saw Scott's dad in the chats there. Did you see that, Swells? That dad was talking.
I have a question for Scott.
Okay.
I would like you to tell a really condensed version of how you got busy living after you quit that job.
Okay.
Tell us the whirlwind version.
Whirlwind version, and I'll start off with kind of giving you my definition of get busy living. How about that? Get busy living is a mindset. It's a fight against comfort. It's easy to get into a routine, a 9-to-5 job where you have good benefits, good pay, and you're in the same house with the same neighbors and community values and all that good stuff every day. But I personally, for me, and this isn't for everybody, but some people like being comfortable, but I don't like comfort. I've learned that. I thought I liked comfort for a time in my life, but I realized I didn't like comfort because it led to me white knuckling my steering wheel, waiting on the clock to punch for the start of the day and going in, and then we can't wait for the day to end. And that's not a way to live your life. So whenever I made the choice to live my life by my terms, I said, well, I'm going to reverse engineer this. What do I want to be doing? I want to go and see some countries and experience some cultures. And so I used the assets and resources that were at my hand, which were the working holiday visas and the assets that I had paid off, and sold them and used that money to be able to to go. And well, I started off in Alaska for 3 weeks, went to Australia for 3 months, which was their 90-day visa, traveled from Cairns up north down to Sydney, or actually Melbourne down south, and then flew to, the first flight was to Bali and experienced Southeast Asia, flew from Bali to Thailand and Sweden, Darren and Trevino met me up there, and went to Cambodia and back to Bali and to Singapore a few times and to Philippines, and then up to Alaska, then back to the U.S. for a while. Swede and I went down to the south tip of Florida together on a whim during that time when I was back in the States. Then we ended up driving from Florida up to Canada, got turned around at the border, but that's a story for another day. You know, it really was the I don't know, most memorable time of my life that really defined and made my life to what it is today, which is fantastic. And, you know, if not for that decision, I would be in a completely different life right now.
Well, that is incredible. That's amazing. What you decided to do, and then what you did with it. And then we didn't even really get to the part where you came to Swede's bedside and helped him through his ordeal. I mean, there's just so much to talk about. We're going to have you back.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Let's do that, Scootie Wells. Let's have you back next week. And we're going to pick up where we left off here next week. Again, I already told you guys, it's the last week of the month. So next week, we are going to talk about next month's destination. We're going to talk about the wealth and health of the Help Swede Walk Again organization. We're going to talk about my personal project. And we're going to give Scootie Wells an opportunity to share with you guys his story about what it was like for him, you know, to come over to Malaysia and really just be a part of the life-saving efforts. Does that sound like a plan, Scootie Wells? You down to come back another week?
Hey, I'm down. Absolutely, anytime. There's enough stories between you and I, Swede, that we could have, you know, a whole podcast just us telling stories, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's going to be plenty more of that. Guys, month 1, the Grand Canyon. Are you kidding me? Month 1, the Grand Canyon. Okay, it's going to be all downhill from there as somewhat because it's harder to beat the Grand Canyon. But month 1 is the Grand Canyon. We got 54 more months to go on the Get Busy Livin' streak. The Get Busy Livin' podcast is going to come to you every Thursday. Please make sure you follow us on our socials. We've got everything from TikTok and Instagram. We've got Pinterest, and we've got obviously Facebook and YouTube. Please make sure that you're following us there so that our numbers can go up. We can get you on these vacations with us. And I just want to leave you guys with this one parting note. And I want you guys to know that I've felt this way from the beginning. I've always felt this way, and I will always feel this way. So I want you to repeat after me. Always remember, we are all in this together. No matter the weather, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we are all in this together.
We're all in this
You guys
together.
know what today is?
It's a great day to be alive.
Hell yeah.
Hell
So with that,
yeah.
guys, I'm gonna leave you. I want to say thank you to those of you that came in and shouted out at us. Jay Brown, thank you very much. Steph, love you to death. Nisi, fairy godmother, I love you. You're gonna be on these Get Busy Living adventures with us eventually. I promise you that. CJ, love you, dog. I appreciate all the help that you've done for this in this. Guys, can I get you guys to come back in here and say hello and goodbye to the Help Swede Walk Again and the Get Busy Living Project audience? Guys, I know you're out there. Please say thank you to Carly. Say thank you to Truman. And
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Amazing experience today.
Thank you, Scootie Wells, for coming. We'll see you again next week. D-Rex, thank you, darling. I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. Hey, guys.
Much love.
I want you to get busy living, baby. Come on now.
Love you all.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
We eat Drink success with never ending refills. We come from nothing, you can't tell us we ain't keep real while we build. Look at my life, look at my start, look at my struggle, now look at my heart. Look at